And all the best to all the students here for the exams which are upcoming. Are you all prepared? सब तैयारी है ना? Yes? Perfect. Okay, so as you just saw, certain times beginnings में हमारे को कोई problem नहीं होती है. यहाँ पे थी, but barring that, beginnings are usually some things which we all are very enthusiastic about. Is there anybody who struggles with knowing what they want to do in terms of where to begin? I'm sure school and institutes, they help us a lot in it. The main concern happens, जो सबसे बड़ी problem begin होती है, that is in the process of executing that plan. So how many of you over here, and raise your hands, let me know that how many of you begin something, probably begin reading the syllabus, begin the course, but in between the boreat starts setting up. At least it used to happen with me. Who else? Beautiful, amazing. So you and I are one in it. आप जैसे आप लोगों की तरह मुझे भी एग्जैक्टली यही प्रॉब्लम होती थी. बिगिन तो कर दिया, एग्जीक्यूशन नहीं किया. सो today the topic that I had picked up is something very close to my heart, which I feel nearing the exam time will help the students also, and that is what is running behind the problem of execution. कि हम begin तो कर देते हैं, but execute नहीं कर पाते हैं. And when it comes to this particular topic, I had layered it into 3 parts, such that we all understand it with depth. So the first part is what I call the inherited orders. The second part is called blind loyalty. And the third part, which is the most exciting part, is the reorganization. So are you all excited about this? Do you want to know that now what is it that we need to execute our plans? Yes? Perfect. So when it comes to inherited orders, what does that mean? When it comes to orders, it means that there is a behavior pattern. There is a way that we function. There is a story that has begun since even before we came into this picture. And it has been inherent in the society that we are born in the culture that we have set up in, where God have we been born as, certain family systems, family में क्या होता आ रहा है. Now, I don't know if you all are aware of it, but there was a time in our in-section where हर कोई MBA करता था. And before that, there was a time where everybody was doing law. So, and a lot of people actually were getting successful in doing law and MBA also. So, at one point, everybody who was coming out was mostly a lawyer or a ace business administrator because of MBA. Now, this choice of what subject to pick, it seemed like it's a personal choice. मैंने ये choice की है. But however, it was not a personal choice. It was a choice which the system or the order had already made for us. So is there a choice that you had ever made in your life which you thought कि कर तो आप ही रहे हो, however, it was the sum total of the advices that you were given? It was the sum total of what you saw around to what was becoming successful? It was the sum total of what someone else told you कि अगर आप ये कर लोगे, then that is when you will go to the heights. Have any of you taken any steps like that? Yes? And this is what is known as inherited order, which feels like it is your personal choice or your personal nature that I wanted to do law or that I wanted to do an MBA. But however, this has been inherited by us through the past, through the system that we are born into. Now, the next phase is called blind loyalties. So, blind by definition means that it is not something that you're consciously aware of. It is not something that you know that this is how it happens. It is not something that it does not seem like a choice. It does not seem like something that you have a control over. Do you all know the meaning of loyalty? Yes? Yeah, beautiful. So loyalty means that irrespective of how it affects me, I will be unconscious to it and I will follow through because that keeps me loyal and that keeps me belonging to a system. And as long as it is belonging to a system, it gives us a sense of safety. It gives us a sense of familiarity. It gives us a sense of habit. It gives us a sense of that if I stumble in this, I know that I will have several people who will support me because there are so many who have done it before me. So, I'll give you an example. Now, the same person who was taught law, who thought that it was becoming his or her personal choice, when it comes to blind loyalty, one day he realized that the reason why he picked up law was also because he was blindly loyal to what he saw growing up his father and mother were doing, and that was bringing in safety to the home. So, this is what it means by blind loyalty. So, check in your own systems that what are the things that you are doing which are an imprint of that blind loyalty, which it seems like you have begun it, but actually has started a long time back through someone else. And now you are blindly loyal to that habit, to that decision, to that behavior, which is again where the execution part comes into the picture. That unless you are executing something which hasn't been done before, you become blindly loyal to a pattern which may have become the begun much before you. Now, the third and the most, and by the way, before I go ahead, do you all know what is a Quitter's Day? And oh, beautiful, amazing. So, Quitter's Day is actually a pattern which has been recorded across nations. Yes, nations. That on the 2nd February of January, any resolution that people make, they stop executing it. It drops. Now, one wonders that why is it that an entire group across the world and why the 2nd February of January? Now, people may think that it's a personal choice that I'm the only one who is not able to execute it through. But think about this. This pattern has ran across the world and it is now being executed. Now, campaigns are made around it because this is what happens that when we are inside an order and when we are blindly loyal to it, we become predictable. We become such that people can now campaign their entire product around us and we can be targeted. It feels like it feels like when you see a commercial on the TV, it feels like they're speaking to me. ये तो मेरी बात ही कर रहे हैं. इनको कैसे पता कि अभी तक आते आते मैंने अपना रेजोल्यूशन तोड़ दिया है? But it's a pattern. It is something which can be accounted for. It is something which can be observed. It is something which has happened continuously over a period of that across people. And what's happening behind it is the first point that I mentioned, which is inherited orders. Now we move towards what to do next. And this is where our third point comes into picture, which is awareness and reorganization. As soon as we become, which is today for all of you, but as soon as we become aware of this is a pattern that I have seen repeatedly happening with me. This is something which I know has repeatedly happened in my family. As soon as you become aware of it, the pattern reorganizes instead. It's almost as if it has been spotted. And as quantum physics also says, that which you focus on, the observer, changes the behavior of the observed. Have you all heard of that? That the observer changes the behavior of that observed. You must have noticed that in a classroom, you all may be speaking to each other. But as soon as a teacher comes, you all go quiet, don't you? This is exactly what it means, that when an observer comes, when an awareness is created, that the order reorganizes itself. And everything around it becomes more potent. It starts speaking to you. So say you made a resolution last year, or say you created a table for yourself, a template for yourself, that this is how I will complete my course. And in between you saw this is very boring. I'm not able to do that. So can you call it out? This is where you call it out. This is where you become aware of it. So maybe you can say it out loud that this is a pattern I am observing. It is normal for me to feel this tics. And now that I am in observation of these patterns, I will move ahead and I will make something beautiful out of it. In fact, this is something which we can all do today, that any pattern, any order that you have recognized, that is something that you're blindly loyal to, and that is something which is not even coming to you. You feel it has become your personal nature. You feel it is becoming your personal choice, but actually probably it is coming from your mother. Maybe your father once told you something.
Yes, sir.
Or maybe repeatedly you saw generation over generation the same thing being repeated. I'll give you a small example. I was recently working with a student, and student would suddenly feel that, so he had to actually apply for certain foreign university.
Or be.
And he suddenly felt that while filling up the applications, that he would begin with gung-ho. He would begin brilliantly. But somewhere in between, that brilliance will drop. He will get bored. And repeatedly this was happening with him. So much so that it had now become a trouble for him. So he came to me, and guess what? We tracked back the pattern. There was an individual in his family, by the way, who he had never met. But the pattern of this person was that due to certain circumstances, this particular individual had to take the responsibility over and over again for the entire family. But the problem was, the more responsibility he took and the more things he got to completion, the more responsibility he got. So nobody shared this responsibility from him. And the way it embedded in his emotional body was that the more you execute, the more you complete, the more you get to complete. It was becoming exhausting. And similarly, it was happening with this student also. So we did a small movement. Would you all want to do this movement with me today? Beautiful. So let's all do this movement. And if it is okay, if it is comfortable for you, could you all stand up? For whoever it is comfortable. Thank you so much for doing this. So today, are you ready to leave those patterns behind, the one that you are blindly loyal to? Become aware and reorganize your life? Yes? Beautiful. So behind you, visualize, is that pattern. The pattern that you know it did not even begin with you. The pattern that you know probably was something that was told to you by somebody in your family, maybe somebody you had met, something you had heard generation over generation. Something you know is familiar. You feel it is your habit. But however, today you suddenly realize it's not coming from me, it's coming from the past. So put that past behind you. Look at that pattern behind you. Now, turn around and bow down to that pattern. Turn around, look at that pattern, become aware of it, see it, and bow down to it. Namaskar karke, you can bow down and say, thank you so much for serving me till here. You've done a beautiful job of getting me till here. And in honor of the safety, familiarity, the belonging you made me feel so far, and with your blessings, I will make something beautiful out of this. And now turn around. Beautiful. Stretch your arms ahead as if you are coming into your new life and say, I welcome my new life. The one which is me. The one where I know and I am aware when I'm becoming me, myself. And you can say your name. Awesome. You guys are so amazing. How does that feel? Thank you so much. And thank you so much for standing up. Please sit down. It means a lot to me to have these cute, to have movements in which we can move ahead. And create a life for our own which belongs to us. Now, all patterns are not bad. As long as we are aware and we recognize them, and we are ready to select for ourselves to see what works for us, and what is something just as we left behind today in honor, not by negating it, not by saying, "Arey, aap to galat ho," but by saying, "Thank you so much, yahan tak laane ke liye hame." And now we will move forward being us. So this is an activity that I do with almost everybody who works with me, everybody who is now done with living a life where they begin but they don't end, everybody who knows that 0 to 1 they have been able to come. 1 to 10 also they can maybe come. But how about 10 to 1,000? How about 10 to 100? So are you all ready to go from 10 to wherever you wish to go to? I am so glad that you are. And with that, I would end the session by saying that orders, once acknowledged, they help you move forward in life by knowing that what is yours and what is not yours. Thank you so much for the TED team.